So at this point, I'm sure everybody has heard about the website or the app that Gypsy Rose and Ken have been on. And they're basically targeting minors. And I'm pretty sure none of these minors' parents actually know that they're being targeted. Now, this is a website that it was another name before and another app, but it's kind of the same thing where it was shut down because they were basically luring kids onto like other apps to do predatory behavior. The fact that Ken and Gypsy are on that site, sticking out their tongues, throwing up the peace sign, it's so concerning. I almost feel like I'm in a twilight zone, and I haven't really wanted to speak on this. Well, I want to, but I'm just so mortified that it seems like nobody is supervising or gives a damn about the children. And it makes me really sad because the amount of crazy things I did when I was younger, if I would have ran into crazy people like that, not knowing, who knows what would have happened, you know? And that's why you really have to pay attention to your kids and pay attention to what they're doing, because there's just so much out there. And I really want to refresh everyone's memory on this. Do you remember that she did this to a minor and then tried to say that I had bad thoughts about minors? I don't get on apps with kids. I don't entertain kids. I have no words for this, to be honest with you. I mean, I always wondered about Ken, and I thought that, you know, he could be one, but I really did not feel like I had enough solid, like nothing was solid enough for me to say, yeah, right? I feel like this pretty much solidifies it to me. Although, you know, of course, this is alleged, but, well, no, it's not alleged because that's like predatory behavior. The fact that Gypsy looked like a minor at the time of her arrest, and those are the pictures that he had been seeing, that was already a question to me, right? Because he said that he had been watching, you know, Seeking Her since the act or whatever show, you know. But the fact that he, as an adult, would think this is okay. You know what? One of my mods sent this to me and I really laughed. It's not funny, but it's funny. I'm going to show TL. Tell me this ain't what you think of. I know this is funny, but it's really not funny. And I say it's funny in terms of like the show, and them being busted would be better than, you know, them anything happening to anybody's kids. But I don't know, y'all. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this. This is why you're not really seeing much of a video from me, because it's like just, I don't know. But also, 420 Mimi did this video. I'm going to add it in here because I just think it's so funny. I'm going to tag her in the description. I want you guys to go support her because I just think she's so funny. And she's one of like my guilty pleasures to watch because I could just laugh, and it's just, you know, it's just innocent, funny, and not like where she's attacking Ryan or anything like that. And so I love watching her because she's just so funny to me. And also, I want to show you this clip that Lauren did. Y'all, it doesn't seem like Gypsy is the one who wrote this bit. I don't know. Y'all just watch this and please just comment down below because I don't know what to think of this.
This is disturbing. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is seemingly targeting children as her new audience. GRB and Ken were spotted on a chat roulette site that a lot of children and teenagers frequent. One of them even reached out to her on TikTok, sending a private message saying it was so nice to speak to her and Ken and asking for a follow back. GRB screenshotted this and put it in her story, like it's some type of flex. Do you know what would be a flex? Screenshotting a message where somebody reaches out talking about how GRB has inspired them, how her story has touched them in such a way it's made an impact on their life. But apparently asking for a follow back is post-worthy. Maybe because the messages I was talking about just don't exist. I'm not sure what this hard rebrand is, jumping into a completely different type of project without any type of segue in. But it is raising eyebrows and people are very concerned. And the rebrand aside, who would be comfortable with GRB and Ken on a website where teenagers go? Seemingly targeting, trying to tap in to a vulnerable audience.
Silly. Guys, what y'all think of me crying in the episode? Did it touch y'all's heart? Let me do a quick poll. Did you feel it? Like, did you feel... Like, red, yes, you felt it. Blue, no. Like, when I was crying in the episode, did it heart? Did your heart go out to me? Red, yes. Blue, no. Hi from Wales. That's cool. My heart broke for you. Thank you, Shy Nicole. It was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was. The clip of it, I was like, God, I cried that much. 4 million likes. It was so sad. Well, it's not. There's a lot of blues. Some people didn't feel upset for me. Yeah. Nobody felt for me. The Reds, thank y'all.
You know what I think is very odd? The people that criticize me and say that I have motives other than what I actually have the motives for are the people that have filters all over their photos and they can't be real about who they are. That's really ironic. I think you need to worry about sweeping your own backyard before you start worrying about me. Maybe exposing the truth for other people, it bothers you because you're the scandal. Check yourself. Yes, that's exactly what it is, and she's still not. But I want you guys to see what she just recently posted. So here it says, do not ask me to relive my trauma for your own personal curiosity. Don't demand to know the answers. The proof is in the pudding and it's right there. And the fact that she's still trying to gaslight people. She says, I'm not a celebrity. I'm a trauma survivor.
No, she doesn't.
What?
Did you ask her?
Do you see the fact that she's still playing this disgusting game instead of exiting the internet the way she said she was? She's still going to try to defend deception and lies. It just doesn't make sense. And the fact that she's still riding on this Munchausen by proxy, she says she's trying to advocate for them, but she laughed about the baby reindeer? Like, what type of sick joke is this? A lot of you think that I wish ill on Gypsy. No, I just wish she would take accountability, real accountability, not accountability just to shut the public up. Just really say, you know what, I did a lot of things wrong. And maybe I'm not ready to state them exactly, but I've hurt a lot of people. I've ruined a lot of lives. And I should have done better. And I'm working on becoming the better me. Not one time has she said that. She has played the victim this entire time. And a lot of you guys keep saying, oh, you know, everyone wishes ill on her relationships and stuff like that. The reality is, everyone knows, or people that know about relationships and people and human behavior knows that this relationship with Ken was a recipe for a disaster. Because until you love yourself so much that you hold yourself accountable to the errors of your ways to become a better person, you can't love someone else until you love you. When you love you, you put these boundaries up to where no one can hurt you because you put boundaries in place because you love you too much to let someone hurt you. But when you don't love yourself, you're self-destructive, which is what she's been, is self-destructive.
Hey, Mom.
Love is not just a word, it's an action. And true love, your actions will speak so much louder than your words. You don't have to write, I love you more than anything in this world. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, because your actions will show that. People may never remember what you said, but they will always remember how it made them feel. And the true lesson to this is learning until you heal and love you, you will never become a better person. And part of loving you is holding yourself accountable. When you make an error, say it. Being able to say, you know what, I messed up, it shows that you're a big person. And not physically, but for you to know, you know what, I could have did things better. Or maybe I did things the wrong way and maybe I don't realize it, but I'm willing on working on me. And that is where everything she does is words, none of it is actions. And the actions that she does show are self-destruction. So the lesson that I think everybody should learn is don't self-destruct. Work on loving you. Loving you is the best gift that you can ever give yourself, because that is when you truly live in your purpose and live in loving yourself. And when you love you, the people you surround yourself with will love you. And loving you is a display to everyone else how to treat you. So when you value yourself, other people value you too, because they see that in you. And the people that are narcissistic and will not love you, they'll shy away from you because you're too strong of a person and too mindful of how valuable you are to let anybody destroy you. So my words to Gypsy would be, work on loving you. Don't be codependent on any man or any relationship. Once you love you, you will attract the right person. The person that will love you despite of your faults, because you've loved you so much. But going down this road of self-destruction is only going to get worse. And this is my word to y'all for the day, because I notice a lot of people are writing hate comments and not realizing, like, I have boundaries. And I love me too much. So one thing I'll never let you do is write hate comments in my comments and think you'll stay around. This is my space. It's a privilege to be here, to be in my space. I'm that valuable. And that's not narcissistic, that's self-love. When you come to a place that you love you, nobody can say anything to you to stop you from loving you. And you know your value. Love you. I love you guys so much. So many of you guys always leave kind words, kind messages, and truly kind words and kind messages. My gratitude to you all is truly endless. Thank you guys for caring about what I have to say. Thank you for watching and supporting and just loving me, for just showing up and being me every day. You guys have a wonderful Memorial Day, and I appreciate you guys all so much, and all the veterans. Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Did you really listen to what I said? Not just saying that, your actions lining up. Words are very simple, but actions take effort. And the effort that someone puts in means more than the words that they're saying. I know that you may not understand what I'm saying because you may not have gotten to that place in life. But I'm telling you, actions speak louder than words. Let's be abundantly clear. I didn't gain a following because of Gypsy. I gained a following because of me. Because if that's the case, every creator that speaks on Gypsy would have gained a following too, right? Also, not to mention, I had a following before Gypsy. I don't think you've realized that, but I have. I went viral multiple times before Gypsy. No, I gained a following because I showed up as me and fought for what I believe in, and still continue to fight for what I believe in. You would love for this to be accurate, but like I've said before, this is not the first person I've advocated for. On TikTok, you've seen more, but way before this, years before Sarah Crucent, I was all over Facebook advocating for her. Centoya Brown, all over Facebook advocating for her. So this is not an isolated situation. I'm being me. People, real, recognizes real. You don't, because obviously that goes without saying, but you would love for this to be the reality, but it's not. One of my lovely followers reposted this in support of me, but I want to show you guys this. And I also want to tell you where I'm coming from. So this person says, I feel like Nina Beauty Influencer is obsessed with Gypsy. Her is Gypsy. It's like a new baby reindeer. She's totally stalking her. Someone else says, so obsessed. Like every second of the day, I don't understand. For real though, it's too much. She's just obsessed with Gypsy. There's absolutely nothing to be obsessed with when it comes to Gypsy, but what I am obsessed with is the truth being exposed. What I am obsessed with is Nicholas GODEJOHN getting a fair trial. What I am obsessed with is what's right. And advocating for someone to get the justice they deserve is not obsession. But it's disturbing that you would think it's obsessive to want someone to get justice. That's actually the concern. It is what it is. And if you want to say I'm obsessed, then say I'm obsessed. I'm fine with that. I honestly really don't even care, because that's your opinion and everyone has one. Just like, well, you know. Anyway, you have a great day. Bye-bye for now. Gypsy Rose went from this to this, and let's talk about why. The biggest question has been that if Gypsy Rose was not abused, or as abused as severely as she said she was, why did she not get life in prison? Common misconceptions that I feel like you hear about when you hear about this case is that a lot of people think that Gypsy Rose was a teenager or, a very, very young adult. Gypsy Rose was actually 23 years old at the date of her mom's unaliving. There's a lot of things that I think people don't realize that the detectives knew that the public has never known or had access to. And I want to show you guys why things have been the way they are and why some people that really know what is going on are in uproar. You guys watch this video with me.
Talk to your boyfriend. There's a whole lot of stuff you're leaving out, girl. Like what? Well, I'm not gonna get into it with you, okay? You're leaving a lot of stuff out that you need to probably tell me. Do you want to talk to me about it? Tell me about it?
Sure, I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
You planned this with him, okay? You didn't get locked in the bathroom, okay? I'm not stupid. First of all, the lock's on this side, so you can't get locked in there. Okay? You went in there because you brought that knife into the picture. You brought the idea into the picture.
I didn't bring the idea.
You did bring it into. You brought the whole thing of the idea,
No.
and he did it for you.
No.
Yeah,
No.
he did. Okay. So the lies, they're done. I'm not sitting here all night long.
No, I won't give you. Like, I did not think of this. I know that he has a evil side, and he did want to do it.
Okay, I understand that.
He wanted to get rid of my mom.
Yeah, for you.
Yes, for me.
Yeah, because you asked him to.
He wanted to.
Yeah, because you asked him to. Plain and simple.
We.
Gypsy, we're not playing this game, okay? You asked him to. That's why he did it. Okay? Plain and simple. We're not playing this game. I'm not spend all my night long listening to your lies anymore. You told me the truth on some things, but you left a lot of stuff out. You left a lot of stuff out. So we're not playing this game, okay? He's already told me everything. Everything.
We're both trying.
The knife was mailed. You guys mailed it. Here, okay? We know where the knife's at. So the gig's up. You're done. It's up. You're done. You're done. You hated your mom.
I did not hate my mom. I did not hate my mom. I loved my mom. And
You would have never done this to your mom.
He needs to tell you that I honestly have been having horror when I didn't want to do it. And he said that he would commit suicide if we didn't.
Yeah.
Did he tell you that?
Yep. Yep.
I said that it was a bad thought that I was thinking, and I don't think that we should be doing this.
A lot of people think about stuff, but when you act, that's when you cross the line. And that's what you've done. You acted upon it, and he acted upon it. So, okay, we're done. You're obviously going to keep telling me lies.
I'm not, sir. I'm not, sir.
Now you're going to be booked in for, later on down the line, you're going to be booked in for probably murder, okay? As long as, and with him as well, okay?
I didn't murder my mom, sir.
Listen to me. You did, because you're behind it. You pulled all the strings on it, and you're behind it. Now, listen, Gypsy, I'm not going to sit and argue with you about it, okay?
All I wanted was him to come and get me.
No, that's not all you wanted. There's a lot more to this whole story that you're leaving out. I'm not going to play the sympathetic game. I'm not like that, okay? I can see right through it, okay?
Please, I'm not able to be in jail. I have a lot of medical
I understand that, and they'll get taken care of, okay? So, sit tight.
I want a lawyer. Please, sir. Sir. I want a lawyer. Please, I need a lawyer.
All right, have a seat.
Now, one of the biggest questions for me has been, where was the detective's energy that he's had in this interrogation when it came to having her prosecuted? I didn't understand the disconnect. I knew that there was something that had to have happened for them to have this conversation, and then for him to go and say, you know, I kind of agree with her being charged, and not fighting for her to be charged with first degree. It all makes sense now, and I want you guys to listen to this.
Opinion right after Gypsy's arrest was for the poor abused girl who appeared to be 12 years old in stature with a voice that sounded like a small child. Netizens rushed to her defense, not knowing all the facts. Hell, the cops admit they were still investigating. Patterson felt he would be blasted if he tried Gypsy for first-degree murder. If he wanted to keep his political position, he thought he needed to keep his constituents happy. This is why Gypsy got that plea deal. In fact, detectives who were closely on the case told us they were flabbergasted when Patterson announced he would be offering Gypsy a second-degree murder charge and only 10 years in prison. During Nicholas GODEJOHN'S trial, Prosecutor Patterson told the jury about why GODEJOHN should be found guilty of first-degree murder. Quote, he wanted to be with her. That's why he killed Claudinia Blanchard. He wanted a sex slave. End quote. Nick was in love with Gypsy, and she was the one calling all the shots. Gypsy claiming it was Nick who introduced her to the BDSM role-playing was utterly false, as we pointed out in part 1 of this series. To this day, law enforcement who worked on the case remain extremely upset by Patterson's decision. They told us they had not finished investigating. At that time, Sheriff Jim Arnett said, quote, it is the case that never seems to stop. He added, there's always new information because it was so bizarre, end quote. As Nick GODEJOHN was facing first-degree murder charges, the sheriff admitted his investigation would be ongoing right up until the date the trial started. The detectives we spoke to, who were closely on the case, pleaded with officials like Patterson to take Gypsy to trial and prosecute her for first-degree murder. They had a hunch she was being untruthful, and they always saw her as the main instigator of the crime, not GODEJOHN. Now, these hard-working detectives are saying, we told you so, behind closed doors, as they watch Gypsy's outlandish behavior since getting out of prison.
So Gypsy Rose, her family, and all of the people that she knows have basically been acting as if she went to prison. She shouldn't have really been there because of these wrongdoings, but yet we have this information. Furthermore, when she came out of prison, this is one of the statements she really made that I feel like was a turning point for everyone to dig deeper. Let's watch it.
I don't associate myself as a murderer because if you think about it, yes, I had a part to play in it. I asked Nick for help. And how that conversation started was, you know, he was saying that he would protect me from anyone. I said anyone. He said yes. I said even my mother. He said yes. And then the plan kind of formed from there. But he's the one that did the actual kill, not me. I can't kill anyone. That's why he's in trouble to begin with, because he's the one that did it. So when they say I'm a murderer, I don't identify as that.
And this right here, friends, is why Gypsy Rose and her family have been trolling me. Because they don't want the real truth to come out. They don't want people to really know that Gypsy is not a victim. She really is a villain. They've played her up and told her she can make millions. Melissa Moore has played into this. They know the facts of this case. And they've spun this story to make $1. Of course, this is all alleged. And I'm saying that, you know, for whatever reasons. But if you really look at the facts of this case, people have been getting duped. Information has been getting twisted. And she has had no accountability. Although people are saying she's accountable, honestly, she should have spent the rest of her life in prison. And the reason why she hasn't is because it was political. But next week, I have more information getting ready to come out. There was someone I interviewed recently that I can't wait to speak to you guys about, but it's a timing thing. I can't just drop it right now. And I want you guys to understand that. So be on the lookout, because this is going to blow your wig cap right back. And for those of you that are saying, leave this girl alone, she deserves to live her life, she doesn't. She also had a chromosome disorder that added up to all of the issues she had or has. And if you don't know what I'm speaking about, you might want to go onto my link tree in my bio. I have a video breaking everything down that will make all of this make sense to you. The truth of the matter is, we need to expose her for who she is, and not because it's a personal attack on her. It's the message that we're sending to youth of this time. We're saying that if you don't like your parents, or there's an issue with them, or you want to do what you want to do, just unalive them. Spend 8 years and come out and become a millionaire. It's all a problem. And she's still using people, just like she's used the man that she's going through the divorce right now. I mean, we really have to be real with ourselves and ask ourselves as a society, what are we deeming as okay? Because what are we telling our kids is okay? Especially in a time right now, after going through a pandemic, these kids are more impressionable than they have been before. And there's a lot more mental health concerns that we really need to be concerned for. And the fact that we're kind of like letting this go is concerning. And not just to me, to a lot of people. Honestly, when I leave this place, this world, I want to make this world a better place. And I think this is one of those things. And Nicholas GODEJOHN really needs to have a fair day in court. Like I've said before in the past, I am not saying that the man should be out free, because I don't believe that. I think he needs to be in a mental health facility. I think he needs help. And I think prison is not where he was supposed to be, because he was manipulated, he was used. And at the end of the day, Gypsy is out here living her life after she used this man. Honestly, it's a horrible situation, and we really need to shed light on it. Let's work on making this world a better place, and not just this case. Cases like this where there's injustices and people have gotten away with it because of political issues. Because it is really an issue anytime politics can play a part into someone that, unlike their mom, should have gotten life but didn't because they were worried about politically how this would look. We as a people need to do better. This is not okay. And the fact that Gypsy is out here acting as if nothing ever went wrong, as in she never did anything wrong, and she's saying, well, you know, I don't relate myself to this. They knew the entire time. And that's why the investigators now feel like, we told you to not let this girl do this. And she's still doing it. You really listen to what Gypsy said. She said in her interrogation that she loved her mom. Her mom was her best friend. So does she even really know what love is the real question. And I think we need to ask ourselves that. But with all that being said, let's just work on this world being a better place and making it a better place for these kids growing up. I hope you guys enjoyed this and you learned a lot, because that was really the purpose of this. And you guys have a wonderful Memorial Day. Bye-bye for now. Okay, I think this is going to be my last video for the day, because honestly, I want to take my kids to the pool. But what I will say is that I just saw on Radiant Brit's YouTube that Katie Joy said that I reported Gypsy to her parole officer months ago. That's a lie. I actually never wanted her to violate her parole. I honestly didn't really care if she was out here or not. I did show you guys the screenshots of the text messages, the messages that she sent me. And that was a violation simply because she was trying to pass messages to Nick without directly doing it. So a lot of my followers reported her. Okay. Now, I recently did report her when she had a threat in Bree's YouTube for me. And at first, I wasn't going to do it. But my friends and followers saw these messages and said, Nina, you need to actually report her because this is a threat. Now, I made a post about it, and a lot of you seen it. Gypsy and her people had it taken down. Yep, she had it taken down after she threatened me. So I stand on what I do. Like, I'm not scared. What you gonna do? Beat me? Who's gonna check me? I don't have an issue admitting anything that I have done. I will stand on it 10 toes down. Because there's nothing you or nobody else that's gonna do to me.
Bounce when she walk, then bounce when she walk, bounce when she walk, clap when she walk, clap when she walk, clap when she walk, clap when she walk.
The only thing I like writing is checks. Money moves me from depressed to impressed. Romeo and Juliet was good, but Money and I are perfect.
I'm definitely the person where I'm like, I'm nice until you try me. It can be like you never existed. I'm definitely that person. If you cross me good enough, you never existed. I do people good. I mean people.
Yes, Cassie had her own footage, allegedly, and that's how the feds got it. But also, you remember last week when we were all kind of like, what is the point of the prosecution? Why is the prosecution bringing all of these witnesses that are basically saying Cassie was abused, but how are they tying this into the RICO? I think that the reason why they did all of that, and Kid Cudi speaking about what happened with his car, remember those 100 seized devices? I think it's going to corroborate everything. I'm also noticing that, remember, Keefe D was supposed to go on trial back in March, right? Well, guess what? They put his trial off till February of 2026. Why would they do that? Diddy's name kept coming up, right? But why would they do that? I bet you some of those 100 seized devices, there's text messages, there's something. Also, remember, it's $1 million that he allegedly paid for their heads, right? Well, wouldn't there be some sort of money moved around, some sort of like transaction where the money was withdrawn, which would be circumstantial evidence? I think there's a lot more coming down the pipelines. And I'm telling you, Albie Sure is going to say some stuff that is wild. And you also notice that Kim Porter's friend that's raising the girls all of a sudden went online and said, you know, Diddy's never done anything crazy, or Kim Porter was never writing a book or anything like that. I think she's trying to protect the girls, but I also think that Diddy has had conversations with her, which is why she's saying that. But I feel like some other tea is going to come out to prove those are all lies. I don't know. Don't get the messenger. I'm just telling you it's looking like that. Tell me your thoughts. Grab a snack, grab some tea, and maybe grab a retainer because Diddy's team is back in court crying unfair, while the prosecution is tossing evidence like it's a Netflix documentary. There's arson, there's hearsay, there's a hotel Molotov cocktail, and yes, Diddy's lawyers are trying to get half of it thrown out. Let's get into it. Diddy's lawyers are basically saying, Your Honor, this trial is a whole circus, and we're being handed new evidence like party favors mid-show. They accused the prosecution of submitting new evidence during the trial, including Rule 16 materials, which is legal discovery documents. They're also saying they're not playing fair with exhibit deadlines, forcing the defense to constantly react in real time, which they claim it violates Diddy's constitutional rights. The defense is basically saying it's giving ambush and not justice. In translation, you keep dropping bombshells in the middle of the courtroom and calling it evidence. We deserve better. This one reads like an episode out of Law & Order Hip Hop Crimes Unit. The prosecution plans on bringing the LA Fire Department arson investigator Lance Jimenez, who responded to a burned Porsche in Hollywood Hills. He found a Molotov cocktail bottle, shard clothes, and red Bic lighter. And he called it an intentional set fire. Okay? But wait, it gets better. The bottle had partial female DNA. So now the defense is saying, who knows who it really was? But could it really help Diddy? I mean, that is the question, right? The government responds, sir, you're not a scientist. You didn't collect DNA, test it, or interpret it. You didn't even know the DNA was even there until we told you. So now they're asking the judge to ban all DNA discussion from the investigator's testimony because it's hearsay, inaccurate, and confusing. Bottom line, if the bottle's evidence is messy, they're not going to let it touch the jury. Now Diddy's team is pushing to show the jury curated highlight reels of Cassie on the red carpet with Diddy, smiling at events, releasing music and modeling. Why? They want to argue if she was really being trafficked and controlled, why is she posing for a love, a loser, artwork in designer fits? They're basically trying to say she had an agency. She wasn't locked in a basement. She had a full glam team. The prosecution said that's irrelevant and manipulative. A victim smiling through trauma doesn't mean a thing. And it doesn't mean that they weren't being abused. But the defense is citing the Sixth Amendment, arguing Diddy has the right to present his case. And that includes happy photos that contradict the narrative. But that definitely is manipulative. And if they feel like trying to make the victim look like she was okay with it, that could go all wrong. It's giving, you said she was a victim, but look at her face beat and unbothered. That doesn't mean anything. And I don't understand why they keep trying to do that. The defense is also trying to strike Kid Cudi's comments, calling Diddy a liar on the stand. They're saying that's a personal opinion and not based on facts. The jury gasped. Oh, let's not forget that the government has submitted 25 rounds of discovery materials after the supposed deadline. So now Diddy's team is screaming, how are we supposed to fight if y'all keep changing the fight? Well, he's a criminal. This trial is no longer about what happened. It's about who gets to shape the story. And Diddy's lawyers are trying to edit the script mid-season. But the prosecutors, baby, they brought the receipts and the deleted scenes. I am telling you, them 100 devices is going to corroborate a lot of stuff that happened. And I think that's partially why they had these testimonies. I also think that the defense doesn't know what to do, so they just want to file all these emergency motions thinking something's going to stick. But honestly, I think Diddy is going down the wrong path, and this is going to go all wrong for him. But y'all, stay tuned, stay seated, and stay ready because the tea is pouring faster than Diddy's defense team is throwing them emergency motions. Y'all, this trial is so unhinged. Diddy's ex-assistant just got up on the stand and said her first day working for him felt like a mob movie. We're talking about threats, weapons, lie detector tests, abandoned buildings, and yes, Suge Knight and 50 Cent got name dropped. Let's break this down. What Capricorn Clark just exposed in a courtroom. Capricorn worked for Diddy from 2004 to 2012, and her testimony is true. Those years weren't just stressful, they were survival. She was supposed to be his assistant, not his hostage. Let's start with day one. She said Diddy and his bodyguard, Uncle Paulie, took her on a little walk through Central Park. But it wasn't just for the view. It was to tell her because she had a past that tied to Suge Knight. If anything happened, he might have to unalive her. Yup, that's what she said. A literal death threat. On her first day of work. Yeah, he meant that. Then came the jewelry drama. Someone accused her of stealing from Diddy, and instead of investigating like a normal person, he allegedly threw her in a building for 5 days for a polygraph test, with threats like, if you fail this test, we're throwing you into the East River. Baby, that's the Rico right there. She said she wasn't free to leave. She said she was intimidated the entire time, that she feared for her life. Y'all, that's not HR protocol. That's a hostage situation. Let's be real. Capricorn also testified that Diddy had guns at her residence. She said he was beefing with 50 Cent and made it clear things could get violent. But wait, it gets wilder. She said she was forced to go with Diddy when he wanted to confront Kid Cudi, allegedly because of Kid Cudi's connection to Cassie Ventura. And not just to talk, Diddy allegedly intended to hurt him. Yes, so Cudi wasn't lying last week. Y'all, she was dragged along like this was a mission. What kind of personal assistance job comes with a potential felony? This isn't just celebrity gossip. This is a part of the prosecution's case that Diddy ran a criminal enterprise. They're painting him as a manipulator, an abuser, and someone who used intimidation and violence to control people around him. Capricorn's testimony backs that up. The threats, the intimidation, the isolation, the force, the confrontations. And the defense so far, they're just saying none of this proves X trafficking. But bestie, a RICO charge is about a pattern. And this is given pattern. Diddy's still pleading not guilty to all charges. His team says all actual activities was consensual, that people are twisting the narrative, and that the media is fueling a takedown. But with each witness like Capricorn stepping up, the consensual defense is cracking fast. And if more ex-employees testify the same type of threats and control, it's not a coincidence. It's a case. This trial isn't even close to being done. But if Capricorn Clark's testimony is a preview of what's coming, Diddy's defense team better start sweating. Because this wasn't an assistance story. This was a survival testimony. But y'all, stay tuned, stay ready, and stay seated because the tea pouring never stops. And this is not just accusations at this point, but that's all alleged. Imagine your boss shows up to the door with a gun, demanding that you help confront your friend over some personal relationship. Sounds like a movie plot, right? Well, for Capricorn Clark, this was a terrifying reality. Let's delve into the shocking developments in day 10 of the Diddy trial. Capricorn Clark, Diddy's former assistant, testified that December 2011, Diddy appeared at her apartment, visibly enraged and armed. He allegedly forced her into a car to confront the rapper Kid Cudi, who was reportedly involved with Cassie Ventura at the time. Clark recounted Diddy saying, "Get dressed, we're going to go unalive him." She feared for her life during this incident. And a lot of people keep saying, well, why did she keep going back to work? He already said if she said something, he would throw her into the East River. So why are people acting brand new? Everybody's the problem but Diddy? Anyway, Clark's testimony continued with details of the confrontation. She claimed that Diddy broke into Kid Cudi's home, and during the ordeal, she managed to warn Kid Cudi about Diddy's intentions. This incident has been a focal point of this trial, highlighting the alleged threats, intimidation, and the tactics used by Diddy. And let's be real, everybody can't be the problem, like I've been saying. Clark also testified about earlier threats from Diddy. On the first day of working with him, she alleged that he took her to Central Park and threatened her life due to her previous association with Suge Knight. Additionally, she recounted being accused of theft, subject to days of a lie detector test, and she was isolated in a building and threatened with being thrown into the East River. During cross-examination, Clark became emotional as the defense questioned her about her motives and her past interactions with Diddy. They presented messages suggesting the complex relationship, including text messages where Clark expressed her admiration for Diddy. Despite this, Clark maintained that her actions were driven by fear and coercion. Clark's testimony adds to the prosecution's portrayal of Diddy as someone who used threats and intimidation to control people around him. The trial continues to unfold with more witnesses expected to provide further insight into who Diddy is and his alleged actions of the music mogul. The revelations from day 10 of the Diddy trial are both shocking and disturbing. As the proceedings continue, I'll keep you updated on the latest developments. Stay tuned for more insight on this high-profile case, because you know the tea porn never stops. Bye-bye for now. All right, y'all. I saw this on TMZ. What are y'all's thoughts? I think that this is very interesting. Was this on my bingo card? No. Am I mad at it? Not really. And I'm saying that because yes, they did fraud or whatever. But I also feel like there's a lot of reality TV stars that have done the same thing and they just weren't scrutinized as much. Not to say that it's not a crime. I feel like they should, definitely have gotten time. But I think that, I don't know, I might be wrong. And I might be biased because they were a little family channel. I just would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this because I don't know. But I think this is really interesting because they were going to spend a lot more time, especially Todd. I think he was facing at least, 15 more years or something like that. I actually think that this probably really helped them out. They're happy to probably go home. But I feel like I'm kind of indifferent with this. And again, I might not have enough information because I didn't really follow this case that closely because I was like, oh, they're doing fraud like all these other reality TV stars. But I also might be kind of numb to it because I feel like every time you turn around, a reality TV star is doing this. Which I'm not saying fraud is okay. Okay, I want to make that very clear. Don't do fraud. Don't do rugs, don't do fraud, and don't steal. But drop your comments down below. I would really love to hear what y'all have to say. Pop sent me the Lilo and Stitch collection, and I'm going to do my makeup with this collection. This eyeshadow palette, I'm very excited. So let's see how this turns out. This is the Beach Dreaming palette, and I absolutely love it. This berry color that I'm using is called Sweet Lilo. Do you see that blend? It is so easy to blend this eyeshadow and it's so smooth and the color is absolutely pigmented. But if you don't know, ColourPop has always slayed. I have been riding with ColourPop since they were online only. Their liquid lipsticks were the first things I ever tried, and their eyeshadows because they had metallic, and you know I'm a glitter metallic girl. The quality has only gotten better, and back then the quality was amazing, so now it's impeccable. Look at this blend. You can't tell me that ColourPop is not a slay. It's so beginner friendly as far as eyeshadow because it's so buttery to blend it out. Back in the day, ColourPop used to have $5 discounts for every email you signed up. I was in college and I was broke as a joke, so I used to come up with different emails, and every time they shipped it, it was a new email address they were shipping it to. Sorry, ColourPop, I loved y'all so much, but I was in college and I was super broke. Now I got the money and I'll definitely pay what I weigh. But I promise you, ColourPop has always been a staple. I don't know if you guys have recently tried their blushes. They have some powder blushes that are absolutely beautiful, but they also have some cream blushes that look like, that rare brand. And when I tell you they are just as beautiful, listen, ColourPop has not made something that I didn't love. Even their highlighter, they have one that was called Lucky or Money. I think they were two different ones, Lucky and Money. I still have those in my collection because ColourPop has always slayed. But this Lilo and Stitch collection is really a gem. Do you see this? It's like an eyeshadow stick. And do you see how it's slaying? Listen, ColourPop, thank you for sending this because I promise you, I love this so much. And look at this blush. It's blue, but it goes on burgundy-ish and pinkish on me. So I feel like it's a blush that does like the pH balance on your skin. ColourPop is having a Memorial Day sale, so definitely check it out. But shop the shopping cart down below if you want this Lilo and Stitch collection because it's a gem.